Hey again, everyone. Craig Galbraith, Editorial Director with Channel Futures, here for another edition of Channel Futures TV. Excited to welcome in the team from Exclusive Networks. We've got Debbie Morin, Senior Manager of Service Operations, and Ryan Linfield, Fortinet Authorized Training Center Trainer with Exclusive. Debbie and Ryan, welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Hi, Craig. Nice to be here.
Absolutely glad to have you. So, Debbie, let me start with you. How do you differentiate yourself from other Fortinet ATCs in the U.S. and Canada?
First of all, Exclusive Network is a premier Fortinet authorized training center, and we differentiate ourselves from other ATCs, authorized training centers in the U.S. and Canada, because we have over 20 years of partnership with Fortinet. Our approach to distribution brings direct value to our partners and their customers. I speak for Canada and the US when I say that as a premier Fortinet authorized training center, we provide technical support. We provide services to our partners. We bring that value add into our virtual classrooms. And so we differentiate ourselves differently from other learning centers because we bring that real life experience and the knowledge that we bring from services overall into our virtual classrooms.
All right. So then are those classes limited to partners only?
No, as a matter of fact, 50% of our registration last month were actually end customers, and we expect to see these numbers grow in the near future as we plan out additional promotions for our partners and our end customers. A sneak peek into that is we hope to basically have on-prem training for our partners and end customers, where we would fly Ryan out to a specific location, depending on the number and size of students, and have the training on site on their premise in the privacy of their own companies.
Excellent, excellent. So I've been hearing about boot camp. Can you explain briefly what that is?
Certainly. Bootcamp FortiOS 7.2 is comprised of 3 days of FortiGate security, 2 days of FortiGate infrastructure. We throw in 1 day of immersion lab, and it also comes with an exam voucher. FortiOS is a core of the FCP network security program, which is our primary focus. And our flexibility in the class offering that we have, because of the size of the class and the number of days required of student, 6 days sometimes could be daunting in a way where consecutively, who can actually lead work, sit in a class for 6 days. We broke that up. Now we offer this flexibility where students, for example, can only attend the FortiGate security this month, and they need to push out their infrastructure the following month. We're able to offer our students that flexibility. And when they come back, we offer the immersion lab, which is a refresher before they actually take the exam. Our goal in the US and Canada is to increase overall cybersecurity knowledge and credentials.
Yeah, that flexibility you talked about is so important. So let's get into some of the nitty gritty here with Ryan. Ryan, there's a lot of change recently within the Fortinet certification world. Wondering if you could catch up our audience a little bit if they're not familiar with it.
Sure, Craig. For a while, I guess for as long as I can remember, we've had NSE training, and the NSE certifications were numerical. Everybody can follow that. They just go in order 1 through 8, and we can all count. The new ones are a mix of letters, and they've got folks a little bit confused. But beyond getting too caught up in what the new letters are exactly, we're going to start with FCA and move to FCP, which is the associate and professional. But what this does is it fills a gap that was there previously. The NSE 1 through 3 training taught a lot about what are the basics of cybersecurity to somebody who's maybe coming into the field that's new. And it showed a massive portfolio of products that's available from Fortinet. Exciting stuff, but it doesn't go into a lot of depth. Some students were caught off guard when they moved into NSE 4 because the NSE 4 training really intended for engineers. It was something that felt right at home for someone that's coming from Cisco or Palo Alto or another vendor with 10 or 20 years of experience. But for a new learner who is just progressing in order, they wonder what the heck happened. Where did policy-based routing come from? Where did high availability come from? Where did a lot of these advanced concepts and protocols come from? Some of the other vendors have a bit better of a ladder, getting from the bottom to the middle to expert level. And what I believe that Fortinet did with the introduction of FCA, which is a certified associate, is it gives the students a bridge to get from the lower levels to the higher. It introduces a lot of the capabilities of the FortiGate firewalls without getting into all the nitty-gritty detail. So it really kind of fills a missing gap.
Excellent. So, Ryan, what's the requirement for Fortinet Certified Professional Network Security?
That one is interesting. It's going to require a base or core, as they call it, of FortiOS. So you still have to get certified on the FortiGate firewall. However, what they've introduced now is an elective. So besides just knowing FortiGate, you have to know a little bit more. And they include switching, wireless, FortiManager, FortiNAC, FortiAuthenticator. And what we're focusing on is the FortiAnalyzer Administrator course. That's going to be our first offering for FCP network security. And we've chosen that after years of experience in training Fortinet customers and hearing feedback from them. I get lots of positive feedback on the Fortinet products, but specifically Analyzer. Everybody wants to know what's going on inside of their environments. They need rich history to look at with their logs. And even on the acquisition side of products, when our sales engineers are engaging with the customer, trying to find out what their needs are and about the environments, we can leverage the analytics in FortiAnalyzer to best guide the customer to the product that they need. Otherwise, we're just guessing at what the components could be.
Yeah, great to have you guys with Exclusive walking them through that for sure. So, Ryan, Fortinet offers their courses for free to customers, I understand, in an e-learning format, but there's also a live event with a fee. I'm wondering if you could tell us what the difference is between those two.
That's a great question. It's something that I talk to folks at conferences about. They say, well, if the class is free, why would you pay to take it? And there's a bit of a difference. The free training, which I use extensively, I've watched almost all of it, is great. I think you should watch it before you come to class. But what they provide you there and what they provide you in a course are very, very different. Yes, it's the same slides, but the discussion, the whiteboarding, the back and forth, and the questions is it's really second to none. I'd like to tell you the class is great because I'm a sagely instructor with a world of wisdom to pass on to you. But really, it's about great curriculum. It's about labs that work really well the first time through. It keeps all of us on pace with what we need to get done. And a big piece that I want to pay credit to is really the ecosystem of partners that Exclusive has developed. All the folks that are coming into class are people that we already work with. We have a vested interest to see them as successful as possible. That's what makes me passionate. Now, when the customers come in, I get them talking, and we have questions, we have answers, we have experiences that we share. We share network diagrams. We talk about problems that are bugs within code. And that's not something that I bring. That's something that the student brings. That's something that somebody who might be listening to that is bringing to classes as a value. So you're part of this. You really are. And that's what makes the entire learning experience work. And it's really a world away from the e-learning.
Yeah, the engagement that you're talking about, I'm sure, is extremely important. Ryan and Debbie, thanks so much for your time today on Channel Futures TV. Great getting caught up with you guys at Exclusive Networks and learning more about Fortinet ATC. Thank you both.
You're very welcome.
Thanks for having us, Craig.